there'd be a lot of poop in my pants. I've seen a 6-foot alligator go swinging through the air and slam into a tree.
These guys are the scientists of the supernatural, lecturers leaving lessons for inquiring laymen. They are applying the scientific method to a world that baffles science. They are the cryptids of the corn.
But who else has big black wings and red eyes?
Batman.
Oh, Mothman.
Oh yeah, Mothman.
A great white shark was stolen.
Oh, someone stole a shark?
I got stuff for you don't even know about.
She's a witch. She turned me into a newt.
Who knows? Anything could be possible. Anything could be possible.
It's really big abduction vibes.
Holy moly.
It sounds like you were abducted.
And it just stood up. I mean, it just like kept going and going. And she goes, what the?
Touched by an angel.
Huh?
Oh, sorry.
You got what now?
I am the great and powerful Mr. E.
I am J. Clone 47.
Ooh, I thought you were going to pick more an angelic number, but okay.
47's pretty angelic.
Yeah, it's not as angelic as 48.
No. I don't know about that.
Because it's all about the rules of halves.
You take 4 plus 7, that's 11. And you split that in half, that's 2 1s. And you know what 1 plus 1 equals?
4. Objective
Fun.
reality.
So it equals fun.
Remember, math is racist.
It equals
I just
fun.
watched that video. All right, welcome
Math?
back to Cryptids of the Corn podcast. That's a
Gosh.
whole different show.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to buzz through this stuff real fast. The front of house stuff. But welcome
Right.
back. I'm going to buzz through the front of house stuff. Paranormal Magazine. We're affiliates, so if you use the code Corn Crew, we get a kickback from that. You get a discount. We get a kickback. We appreciate it. Please use it.
You help us, help them, help you,
them.
help us, help them.
Help you, help us.
It all works, all goes around.
YouTube. Last week, the first documentary series premiered on YouTube. Go check it out.
Check it out. Leave
Under
comments.
Cryptids of the Corn YouTube, but it's the Lawn Chair documentary series.
Yes.
The voicemail service, Speaker Pipe. If you have a story you want us to share, please call the voicemail service. If you just want to say, hey, you guys are doing a good job, or hey, whatever, use it. That's what it's there for. We're paying money for it. If it doesn't get used, we'll stop paying money for it.
Check the description of this episode and click the link below.
Yes. P.O. Box. If you want to send us art, you want to send us books, you want to send us fan mail, anything at all. If it's anthrax, just please put that on the envelope so I can hand it to Jay.
Let us know. It's P.O. Box number 75, Ada, Ohio, 45810. Again, check the links below.
Merch. Our summer shirts are out on the merch website. Once again, link is below. It is the Antarctic spider crab chasing me and Jay, and the oceanic crocodile with the shoebill storks fighting the orcas, trying to save the rich people's ships.
So merch. If you'd like merch, just check the description in the box below and click the link.
Click the link.
Oh, my God.
Click those links. I'll tell you what. I've been buying barrels.
No, let's keep going.
Oh, different show. Different
Keep
show.
going. Get through them.
Conferences. This weekend.
Squonkapalooza.
Oh, yeah, and we're speakers. I believe we're second up to bat.
We're speakers. If you want to see us speak in person, live action, come out to Johnstown, Pennsylvania, August 26th.
Took you 3 months to get it right.
Squonkapalooza.
It's going to be a ball.
Google it.
And then the Hocking Hills Bigfoot Conference. We're speakers at.
Yep, coming up shortly after.
That is the third weekend in September.
Yeah,
Look
soon.
on our website. It'll be up there.
Yes, check all this information on our website or in the links below.
Our conference, 40 Airwaves, a podcast mega conference, first weekend in October, $50 tickets. It gets you a meet and greet and hang out in a panel on Friday. Gets you a full conference with all the podcast. Who we got, Jay? There's 6 of us.
There's us, Cryptids of the Corn. We got Kill the Mockingbirds. We got Uncomfortable. We've got Hollow Skies. We've got The Bump. And we got Appalachian Intelligence.
Hey, you remembered everybody.
It's a podcasting mega power super conference.
With a pancake breakfast on Sunday.
Yeah, so send you off with a nice pancake breakfast. So
tickets are below. And then the link also has for the hotel and all that stuff.
Yes.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun, not too expensive.
And then
come see us.
What do we end in the year with?
We are ending the year with Cryptid Con.
Woo! And it's the weekend before Thanksgiving in November.
Yep, November.
Yeah, we'll be there all weekend vending, hang out. My Crypticon's a really favorite one of mine because everything is we never have to leave the hotel.
Fun. Yeah, it's very fun.
Like, because the conference center's in the hotel, the bar and the restaurant's in the hotel, and they're not bad priced.
No, it's pretty good.
So it's we don't have to leave. The food's fine.
We'll give them a better review as that gets closer.
I mean, yeah.
But CryptidCon.
All right. If you're coming to the show, let us know. We like to try to learn faces before.
Yeah.
Worked at this one a little bit.
Yeah.
This past one, the Hocking Hills Bigfoot Festival.
Oh, yeah. I met a lot of new people out there.
New reviews. These are all from Spotify, and they're very short, so I'm going to be quick.
Okay.
Joe Downs. Cryptids of the Corn is my favorite podcast. I've been listening to every episode, so I wait for new ones to come out. Keep up the great work, guys. You're so entertaining.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. And then the little tadpole, and this is Ash from Australia. She was on our show.
Aha.
Hi, you guys were talking about the beagles used for experiments. Then you mentioned then there was what happened with the koalas. That was bad. P.S. I'm Ash from the Living UFO episode.
Oh. Thank you,
She was
Ash.
asking, I think, what we were talking about with the koalas. It was I think it was the one here in Ohio in the zoo we were talking about
Oh, yeah.
with the molestation of koalas.
Yeah, let's not go too further.
That is all I can say about that.
Yeah.
Stuff happened at a zoo here locally with koalas.
Not good.
Somebody used them as a glove.
Not good. Let's just move on.
Foxy says, this is on the Demon Core episode. Well, that's what you get for messing around with a nuclear cord and a screwdriver to look cool. The only superpower he got was death.
Yep.
Yes, he melted.
Thank you. Roxy, you said?
Foxy.
Yeah.
Foxy.
Thank you, Foxy.
Ben says, awesomeness 5 stars plus.
Woo!
And Trobach Oki. This is Bob. I'm 100% sure this is Bob.
Okay.
5 stars. These guys never disappoint. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
I'm pretty sure it's Bob.
Has to be. Super fan.
Yeah. New Patreon members. We don't have any yet, so Patreon had a little bit of a hiccup the beginning of this month.
Yeah, any Patreon members listening to this episode, yeah, if you're having trouble with your Patreon,
it was a payment thing, got declined, so you have to rejoin. If you got kicked off our Patreon, it wasn't us. If you're not seeing Patreon contact, you have to get a hold of Patreon customer support. We got a hold of them on our end, and they said there's nothing they can do on our end. It's an individual Patreon user problem, not a channel problem. If that makes sense.
right.
So please, because I think we got everybody back finally, but it took seriously like 2 weeks, and people are still having a little bit of issues. But Patreon, so like we do, for depending on the $5 tier and up, we do the Discord, we do the Hangout sessions. Like this month we showed off the documentary early, and we're doing.
We're decalcifying our pineal gland.
Declassifying our pineal glands.
So if you'd like to join our Patreon or just check it out, check the description box and click the link below.
There you go. All right, that's it. Now.
All right, let's get on to our main.
Touched by Angels.
Touched by Angels.
So we've done some dark ones this season already.
Okay.
So I thought it'd be good to do a very lighthearted, more positive one.
Light.
Yes.
Okay.
Because we talked about the Demon Core and people melting.
Right. Yeah. Let's just flip it the other way.
The bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yeah. Let's go a little more. Let's go a little more positive today. You know, this is. I may be an enlightened clone today, so I may enjoy this.
Okay. So I just have some angel encounters, or what people say are angel encounters. I got a handful of stories, and then there's a video that me and Jay are going to watch now. I will put in the description below. That is Jay's responsibility.
Okay.
To remember to put that description, the link below, because I think it may show an actual angel. And there's a bunch of goofy ones on YouTube you can find and stuff like that. This one is 100% real, and I think it's really cool evidence. Are you making a note that you have to put this in the description?
Indeed, I am.
Okay. Ready for the first one?
I am ready.
Angel sightings and encounters from around the world. Angel cloud spotted during driving. A Texas man was driving along Highway 105 in Montgomery, Texas, with his wife, and he noticed a particularly shaped cloud that stood out to him. Danny Frio stopped and snapped a picture. What he believed was a cloud the shape of an angel in the sky. He uploaded the image on Facebook, and it was been shared over 19,000 times. Freo said the sighting was a positive sign that he needed during a time of dread. So he was, I believe he lost a family member. I believe it was his mother or his father. And it's a picture. The cloud does look like an angel. You can say whatever you want about it. But yeah, that's the very first one.
You know, I think sometimes you do get signs like that, but also I think it could equally be, in times of hardships, you're looking for a sign of like hope or
I agree with both.
comfort. So your mind kind of, it's like that. What's that called? Pareidolia?
Yeah, pareidolia.
Am I saying that right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the correct word. Finding human faces,
Right.
or finding faces and stuff.
So I think similar to that, you find maybe just a symbol of like comfort or something like that.
I can agree with that. I think we'll have a little bit of both on this list.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Where you get some of that, where it's just, but you also have what's real. And we're going to talk about what angels could be, or what the angels we're talking about could be today.
Right, yeah.
Because I don't think they're all just biblical angels. There's some paranormal that gets into this.
Okay.
Angel appears on 9/11 photo tribute.
Oh, boy.
As a tribute on the lives lost on 9/11 almost 18 years ago, twin light beams are in the sky in the sunset and sunrise every anniversary. In 2016, Richard McCormick was in Hoboken, New Jersey. He was taking photos of the lights from across the Hudson River, and he realized he captured more than just a beam in one of the shots. The image, according to McCormick, is a figure of an angel floating in the night sky. Although some of the sightings say it's just an unusual cloud formation, McCormick told Inside Edition that he believes that it is indeed an angel watching over us. It looks very convincing.
Okay.
So you can look up the McCormick photo.
McCormick photo.
Mm-hmm.
McCormick, like probably angel photo would probably pop up.
It'll pop. It's very famous.
Okay.
It's extremely famous.
Gotcha.
It will pop up. It looks fair.
Okay.
Could be a cloud, but it does look very human-esque figure. Pastor experiences angelic encounter that saved his life. Pastor John Boston was driving on Airport Road in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, boy.
We were just on Airport Road.
Really?
Where were we just on Airport Road for?
In Columbus, Ohio?
Oh, we were going down to the hockey, and that's where we met Emily's parents to drop off the baby.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, I was just on Airport Road for something. At the Applebee's. In 2015. So he was in Columbus, Ohio. In 2015, he got into a terrible car accident. It sent a live transformer crashing into his car. So like a power transformer.
Right, yeah.
I read it kind of like a...
like a transformer
I was
movie.
like, what the hell are they talking about? Fox 8 Cleveland reported that he was trapped inside a burning car with a melted windshield and the door folded over shut. Boston said he struggled to wake up and open the door and remove him. Boston said that a stranger walked up, opened his door, removed him from the car, and took him to safety. The stranger told Boston his name was Johnny, and he had to leave the scene before the first responders arrived because he can't be seen here when they get here. He never saw Johnny again. Boston walked away with minor injuries and a strong sense of determination to serve after this miraculous encounter is what strongly believes it was an angel.
Yeah.
Now, here's kind of our first what I think could be a real angel.
Yeah.
So the car is literally, like, you can look up the news report of this. It had a live power transformer shoved through the windshield. The car was electrified and on fire.
Okay.
The windshield melted from the electricity.
Just from the electricity or from the extreme heat?
No, the electricity.
Okay.
And the car was just getting to be on fire. It wasn't fully engulfed yet.
Okay.
The door is completely folded over. And apparently, and there's news, like this was on the news, like they did the whole investigation. The stranger walked up, opened the door, pulled him out, carried him to safety, set him down, said, hey, you're going to be fine. I got to get out of here before anybody shows up. I can't be seen.
Right, yeah.
Now, what do you think about that?
I think it could be an angel.
Now, there's some of these that
in disguise.
This one has a lot of news coverage.
Yeah.
This one has investigations. This one has police reports.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of why I like this one a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I think it can very well happen because just from other stories I've heard, especially with just them kind of disappearing and you never hear from them again.
Now, there could be the felon. We'll talk about that at the end.
Yeah.
The Good Samaritan that has, maybe a track record.
Okay.
Of being in the wrong place, wrong time.
Right.
Like literally, this ain't the best example, but from the Green Mile.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha.
Because he was an angel.
Yeah.
But he was also like, he went to prison. What was his name in the movie?
I know what you're talking about. It's not
Dufresne was the...
Yeah, it's not Dufresne.
That was a different movie.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That's a longest...
Whole different.
Or, but whatever.
Not Longest Yard either.
Not Longest Yard.
Different prison movie.
But yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was trying to save the little girls that another man had done stuff to and killed, but he got caught with the bodies. And
Gotcha.
a black man in the 60s with two
Right.
dead little white girls.
Not a good look.
No. So there's that side of it, which we'll talk about more at the back end. But it's the cops are talking in this news article like they said no, he didn't. Like nobody opened that door.
Right, yeah.
Cops were like, no, nobody opened that door. He got ejected out or something.
So almost...
No,
what-
the cops couldn't quite figure out how he got out.
Right, yeah.
But they said nobody opened that door.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I don't know the full details of the scene and stuff like that, but was the door left open when he got him out, or
I don't think so. I think it was
closed it back
Yeah,
up?
I think it wasn't. I don't know what. Like it's weird. There's a lot of weird stuff. The car looked like a chewed piece of burnt bubble gum
Yeah, and he lived with probably not much on him
with a live transformer
in his car.
shoved in through the windshield, through
melted
the
his
side of
windshield.
the car.
It reminds me, not to that extreme, but of this other story. Should I get into it now?
Go ahead.
There's this guy I follow on YouTube. His YouTube name is Foolish Fish, and he just kind of reviews. What would you put it? Like esoteric books.
Okay.
Not like cult books, but like just books that cover like secret knowledge and just, ancient traditions, things like that. But he talked about he did this whole episode where he had a spiritual experience where he became a Christian or where he became a believer in a higher power. And he said it was just by happenstance. Basically, I'll just make the long story short. He ended up having a small interest. He found a Bible at like a bookstore. He's a big book collector, and he found a Bible, and he's never read one. So he became interested and just grabbed it and just started reading it by chance. And then as he got through it, he learned a lot. And so he thought he'd use some of it into practice. And then one day he's from England. So, everything he's connected by like train and stuff. You can get that pretty much anywhere you want to. He's on the other side of the island. There was like a concert going on, and he wanted to go see it. But at the same time, he had to study for like his college exam. And
You've told me this story.
yeah, I think so.
Go
I
on,
don't think I've
sorry.
ever told it on here.
No.
So he ends up going to this concert. He decides, what am I going to do? Have fun, or am I going to study? And he thought, like, just this time, okay, I'm just going to go out and have a little bit of fun and just see what happens. This is shortly after he just read the Bible and stuff and started to become like a believer in these things, and as far as faith and stuff like that. And so anyways, he only had enough money to get to the train to where the concert was to have a good time. And he was being conservative with his money because he knew he had just enough money to get to the train there and just enough money to get a train ticket back home. That's it. So he pretty much couldn't buy nothing or do anything except enjoy this. So he took the train right there, enjoyed it, and then he said he had so much fun, he ended up staying a little bit longer than he realized. And he was on his way back home, and he was going to miss his train. And that's when he realized, yeah, he did miss his train. He wasn't going to make it there on time. So he's kind of left out. It's dark, getting dark out. He has no ride home as far as train. He missed his, but he knew he could walk to like this other train station from in another next town over. And there was a train still traveling through there that would eventually make it to help him get home. But he'd have to like leave right now and like run there. So he said he was like running there, and he was on his way to the train station back home. He made it to the town. He even made it to the train station and seen the train just pull up on the deck, like to load up as he was getting close to it. So he's running up to it, and he's like kind of praying, like, come on, hold the train, let me get there in time. And then he realized he gets right up to the top, up the steps, and as he gets to the top, the train rolls off and leaves. So now he's stranded, and now there is no more trains coming through. So he doesn't even know which way like home is. So that's when he remembered, okay, if you just start praying, like, let's just start praying. He's like, so he prayed and asked like for a sign, like which way he's supposed to go. He's like, he doesn't know what to do. He's standing out in front of him. So he just starts looking around, and he sees like this one like plastic bag floating in the wind. So he goes after that plastic bag. He's like, I guess I just got to walk that way. Maybe that's my sign. So he just started walking that way. And he says he's walking, like head down, just walking, and then finally comes across like these other signs. So he kind of has an idea where he's at, but he's very many miles and many hours away walking from home. But that's why he doesn't have any money, and so he can't really do anything. So he's just walking down this road and keep putting his thumb up for like someone to pick him up, but no one's stopping. So he remembers like, okay, let's try praying. And he remembered reading in the Bible, like if you pray, you got to be very specific. And so he was very specific. So he's like, okay, I want there to be like a white minivan, with leather interior to come pick me up, and I want it to be a guy that picks me up, and he said something about smoking he wanted the guy to smoke cigarettes because like his parents smoked cigarettes, and that was comforting to him. So that for some reason that image came to his head, and he wanted the guy to be a smoker. He was trying to be as specific as possible. So he said he's walking down this dark road, prays for this, and he looks back and he's like, no headlights, and he keeps walking down the road. No headlights, and he's like holding up his thumb. He even prayed like within 5 minutes he wants his car to come pick him up because it's raining. So he keeps doing this. He says like 2 minutes go by, nothing. 3 minutes, 5 minutes go by, and still nothing. And then right after 5 minutes, he looks back and he sees a pair of headlights come up way down the road. He's like, okay, no way. So it gets getting closer. Headlights keep getting closer. He keeps holding the thumb, and then finally it gets close enough and it starts slowing down, and it's a white minivan. Just like he prayed for. But he realized the top of it had a big taxi sign on it. So this white minivan pulls up and says, hey, you need a ride? And he's taxi. He's like, oh, no, I don't have any money. I'm just going home. So the taxi driver asks where he's going. He says his hometown. He's like, I'm actually passing through that way. If you just want to jump in, it's the end of the night. I'm already going that way. You don't have to pay me anything. So he's like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, I'm sure. He's like, jump in. So he's like, okay. So he opened his back door to jump in. When he jumped in, the guy had all leather interior. And then as they're talking, the taxi driver asks him if he smokes, if he wants a cigarette. He's like, no, I don't want one. He's like, well, I'm going to have one if that's okay. He's like, yeah, that's fine. So he got the white minivan, he got the leather interior, and he got the guy smoking, and he got the guy taking him home, all for free. So he gets home, and he tells the guy, like, thank you, so much. And then he's like, the guy's like, oh, no problem. You don't owe me nothing. He's like, I'm sure paths will cross again, but then you can pay me back then. He's like, if you got any money, just put it towards a children's hospital. He's like, that's what he told him to donate his money to. And then the guy drives off, and he says he tried looking at his license plate, but it was blurry. He couldn't make it out. And he's like, it was foggy. He kind of just drove out in the fog, and he was gone. But he's never seen the vehicle ever after that. He never even heard of seen that taxi service driving around anywhere. He did donate the money, so to a children's hospital. But he said after that whole experience, it kind of led him to believe, like, okay, there is something behind all this. You just kind of and so I believe it was an angel looking back.
Yeah, the manifest. Yeah, 100%.
It was an angel coming to answer his prayer. That's like God kind of organized it. You prayed for it. So he organized it to happen, took care of him, didn't ask for nothing in return. And then it was gone. Never seen him again.
So that reminds me of, this one's short, but there's an atheist YouTuber that was like driving around. It's raining and stuff like that. He's doing a live stream. And a bunch of his commenters are like saying stuff about God and stuff like that. He's like, if God were real, there'd be lightning strike in 3, 2, 1. And then the whole car lights up. And there's like lightning strike like 20 feet off the road. He's like, okay, well, that's very concerning that he ends the live stream.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Little things.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing is, well, we'll talk about it later with miracles and such.
Yeah.
And I think there's a good mix of actual humans and then good people being put in the right place in the right time, being angelic encounters as well. Yeah. As it's them not being angels themselves, but
embodying the spirit.
There's a video we'll watch.
Yeah.
That is we'll get there.
So yeah, I mean, back to the original story that spawned that story is I believe these things do occur because I believe that guy's whole he wasn't just making it up, but that was his whole experience. And it's just, if something like that actually happened, it's more than just a coincidence.
I even have some real life ones we're going to talk about later. For me, I'm talking like actual
experiences.
First hand.
Okay.
Security camera captures an angel in Michigan. Michigan resident Glenn Thomas. So I'm wondering. I know a Glenn Thomas in Michigan.
Okay.
I'm sure it's not the same Glenn Thomas. It just made me laugh.
What if it was?
I doubt it. The Glenn Thomas I know is an alcoholic.
Well, it's, crazy experiences can do things to you.
So he told Inside Edition that he was touched by an angel. After discovering his motion sensor camera captured an image of one hovering over his pickup truck. He instantly sent the photo to his pastor in his church, Daniel Moores. When he was shared the photo on Facebook, many locals believed that the figure in the photo was a sign from heaven. Moores' Facebook post has been since obtained hundreds of thousands of shares.
Wow.
It's it's one of those photos you could be like, it could be anything.
Right, yeah. Did he remember being physically touched by it, or is it just something caught on camera?
He thinks it was touching his truck because it was during he doesn't go into it, but there was something that almost happened on his way home from work that night, stuff like that.
Okay.
Whether there may have been some problems on his end driving home, vice versa. He survived, and then his security camera caught a figure hovering over his truck.
Gotcha. Okay.
Very guardian angel-esque.
Yeah. Protecting him.
An angelic nurse.
Ooh.
So this is Luke was diagnosed with bone cancer when he was 8 years old. During his 2-week hospital stay for treatments of an infection, a nurse came into Luke's hospital room. As he slept, his mom spoke with the nurse, who was wearing 1960s uniform, when she thought was very strange. The nurse told Luke's mom that she would pray for his healing before exiting. Luke, fully healed from his infection, is now cancer-free. According to the Thought Company, both Luke and his mom believe the nurse, who was never seen again, was a guardian angel who offered more hope during a difficult time. She actually went back to try to thank the nurse and all this stuff, and they just said that lady doesn't work there.
Wow. That's kind of odd. I mean, and it could be she actually didn't, like she was an angel, like manifested there or something, or maybe they just go through nurses so much, like, and they don't want to go through the trouble of tracking this person down. It's like, nah, just don't even work here. They don't work here.
Could be either way.
Could be, yeah.
Before we continue, we're going to take our ad break. I remembered.
Good, because I forgot.
All right, guys, we'll be right back.
And we are back.
Yeah, we're back. Ad break. Gotta remember it so you guys don't yell at us about the ads popping up in the middle of nowhere.
Nowhere, yeah.
All right. Beautiful, strange UFO. Or an angel.
Ooh.
I told you I was going to connect these into all kinds of phenomena.
Which is it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yes, indeed.
Some researchers think there might be a connection between UFOs and angel sightings. They say the angels and heavenly figures encountered in the Bible may actually have been extraterrestrials, or vice versa. After his experience in 1980, the most beautiful thing he ever saw, Lewis L. might agree with that assessment. It was on Saturday morning in Marsapa, California. I think is how you say it, Marsapa. Lewis had to work that day. The air was fresh with a cool rain at night before, and the morning sky was bright with a few scattered clouds. I was heading out to my car in the back of the parking lot of my apartment complex where I live when I noticed someone kneeling next to my car, Lewis says. If it was here in Ohio, says Justin, that'd be somebody stealing your catalytic converter.
Yes.
Lewis says, this person saw me and quickly stood up holding a crowbar. Still maybe a catalytic converter thief.
Or a change thief.
They just get in your car. Like,
yeah.
With a crowbar?
Yeah,
That's why I never lock my car. Emily's like, you never lock your car. It's like, because I've had a window broken to get change out of the car.
Yeah.
So I just never leave anything important in my car because they're just going to break your window to get into it. I'd rather not have a broken window.
True.
Anyways, the young man was quite obviously startled by Lewis's interruption and although Lewis sensed the boy was up to no good, it hadn't yet hit him what he was doing. Then Lewis looked through the passenger window of his car and saw the steering wheel column had been stripped of its cover. He realized the young man was trying to steal his car. I asked him what the heck he was doing. Lewis recalls. He gave me a lame story about his friend's car being stolen last night, and that my car looked like his friend's and so on. I didn't want to hear it. I told him that I was going to call the police, which I did on my cell phone. Lewis dialed 911 and gave the dispatcher the address. He told the would-be thief the police were on their way and warned him not to leave. The boy said he would wait for the police. But Lewis could tell that he was just waiting for the right moment to make a run for it. If he did, I wasn't going to try to stop him because his adrenaline was pumping and he had a crowbar, said Lewis. As Lewis was grilling a young man trying to detain him, he began to notice 3 rather large clouds in a straight file formation or almost overhead them. That's when I saw it, he said. A shiny object exiting from the first cloud and entering the next one, and then coming right out from that one. It was shiny, like polished chrome, and moving at good speed. I couldn't make out the shape. By this time, Lewis was so distracted by the UFO that the punk saw his chance and he took off. Then when the object entered the last cloud, from there was nothing but open sky. When it emerged, my life changed, he said. There against the richest of the blue sky was a silvery shape that seemed to have arms and legs. It was so beautiful to look at. At the same time, it had the appearance of metal. It looked like some kind of ship with a strange design. The best way I can describe it is it looked like a silverware that had been displayed, or that of a stickman child drawing. It was huge, and it was moving fast and made no noise. As it sailed overhead, some of the limbs would move up and down, giving the impression of being alive, a living entity. It made a couple of rolls, reflecting the sun with every direction, just beautiful. Oh my God, beautiful. As it started to fade away from view, I found myself unable to breathe and tears rolling down my cheek. It also had made much of an effect on me. I began thinking maybe that's what angels look like, and maybe not.
Interesting. I mean, that covers a lot of just...
there's a lot. This story...
Does that story keep going?
Does the
story keep going?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, organic UFO, like literally, like we talked about in one of our organic UFO episodes of the Sky Angels.
Yeah.
The Russian cosmonauts all seeing the Sky Angels.
Right.
Very similar descriptions of being humongous humanoids. The best way they even cried seeing it. They described them as being heavenly,
right.
angelic.
Yeah. The ship itself, how big? I mean, did it explain how big?
He said huge.
Yeah.
He just kept saying huge.
I wonder too, like if it's, especially with some of these, I don't know. I want to say UFOs. In my mind, I mean, was it a ball shape? It's kind of what he described.
He described it as human shape, like a person.
The shape itself is just human.
Yeah, human.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So headish, arms, legs.
Yeah. Okay.
Very much like
that came through the clouds.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's kind of crazy.
Very metallic. Gave the impression of being fully alive.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is it coincidence that it happened during this encounter? Was it just, was an angel trying to give this kid a break?
Gotcha. Like a distraction?
Yeah. Or a sign. I wouldn't even say distraction. A sign of forgiveness.
Gotcha.
Like, hey, he's he's on a hard times. Or is it just a fully organic UFO like we talk about?
Or
and it happened right place, right time.
Or was the kid, or is it maybe not an angel, but the other end? And the kid was doing something wrong, and then this thing's coming to cover for him to give him a break to continue to do wrong.
I doubt it. He had to be doing very... That's a lot of a dark magic to be getting into stealing cars. Yeah. I think he would be a politician. Yeah. I think he'd be a politician if he had that power.
Something like that, yeah.
No, it's just... I don't know.
A politician, that's the one thing.
And then there's the alien side of it and all this stuff. I don't know. What do you think about this story?
Well, I mean, the alien side of it... I think of like something, what if it's like Braxy, something like that nature that comes, who knows where Braxy came from, but I always think of something like that because with her or her, him, it, they, Braxy, you don't know what that thing is. I have no idea, but I always imagined it. If it was an alien, in some sense, it came from outer space or something like that it would descend in something manner like that, and then just be like this weird robot metallic thing. I don't know, but in this certain situation, it sounds like it could be something like that. Or I wonder if it's, in my mind too, like something that's interdimensional. If that's, what some of these things are, especially aliens, even angels in a sense, if angels are coming from heaven, heaven's in my mind just another dimension of where you could, I don't know, where your spirit can inhabit, I guess, like that. So if these things are coming from a different dimension like that, what if like just their appearance of crossing, the barrier makes them appear metallic or makes them appear in like whatever weird way until they're finally here and they fully adjust to our three-dimensional realm? I don't know. What if like heaven's like, I can't. It's hard to describe with this dimensional stuff. But what if that's just the appearance of them crossing over and through? You see the clouds and the lights. That just might be a byproduct. Or
I mean, if you look at really biblical descriptions of true angels, they're not like they're extremely hard to understand.
Yeah,
the actual shape.
See, I wonder
the shape and design and stuff because you're talking about What you're talking about is upper dimensional creatures.
Right, exactly.
You know, God's first creation.
And I just wonder if the transition from that dimension to this dimension either makes them appear like so weird and odd that it's just hard for us, our minds, to comprehend here. But maybe, you know, if we lived in that dimension or was able to go from ours to theirs and get a sneak peek, maybe they would look a lot more normal in that realm. I don't know. That's weird to think about.
So you going angel or you going organic UFO? Where are you going with this one?
Maybe angel, but interdimensional being is what I'm thinking.
I kind of leaning towards organic UFO for this one.
Just organic, straight up organic UFO?
Mm-hmm.
Like imitating maybe human form?
No, I just
Or
think
just
that sometimes they kind of look like that, especially like the it's just such a striking thing with the Russian angels, the cosmonaut angels, and that maybe they are angels. I don't know. It just I think they kind of maybe have a human-ish shape, like in the just what we're seeing in that personification or the we even said the word earlier, putting the human face on everything.
Pareidolia.
Pareidolia of just putting a human thought images to something that kind of has maybe a very rough shape.
Right. Kind of like those one fish that people see that had looks like human eye, looks like it has a human face, like human eyeballs and teeth. Yeah. But it's a fish.
So there's all that.
Yeah.
I mean, Japan actually specially bred a crab that has the emperor on its back.
The emperor? It was an emperor, right?
It was an emperor.
Okay.
The god emperor.
Those do look weird.
So there's everybody real quick. There's a crab in Japan that a long time ago, these crabs have a lot of markings on their back. There was a couple of these crabs, though, had a striking resemblance to the emperor. So those crabs were ordered to be released every time they were caught. Yeah. And then they selectively bred a population of crabs that all have the exact same marks on their back, so they can't be kept.
That's awesome.
That's evolution. Like, that's selective breeding. And, you know, whether it's for positive or negative reasons, it's because they get to go back. They get to breed more.
Right. Yeah.
So their birthmarks get passed on. Their design get passed on.
And they just look cool too.
They're just little crabs. They're little stone crabs.
Yeah.
They're just crabs.
Yeah, but
I don't see the face.
You don't see
personally.
I can kind of see it. You can kind of see it.
Kinda, but
it's
how would you call that a certain person?
I don't know.
That's my thing.
It's face enough to look cool.
It looks like a face.
Exactly.
But how to say it was ex-emperor?
Oh, it was.
You know,
for sure it was.
Now, it was probably Steve Irwin.
Now, that would be cool. Now,
they're invading Japan because Japan kills all the whales.
Would you rather have Steve Irwin show up on a crocodile-like print or a stingray?
I think stingrays, because it would be the sign of you don't fault the animal. You don't fault the animal.
You're right. Very Steve Irwin of you. Yes. He's an angel.
There's that Steve Irwin meme. It's like, gets the gun to go shoot the stingray, and he's like, no, that one. And then at the next frame is like, no, it's not what he would have wanted.
That's pretty funny.
All right, ready to move on?
Yeah.
All right, so we have a couple videos before we get into some personal stories.
Okay.
I know everybody. Jay's going to put the links.
Let me make a reminder.
Jay's going to put the links in the description.
Leave a reminder for myself.
If we remember, we'll do it today. All right, you ready for this first one? It's muted for everybody. Me and Jay are going to watch it, then I'm going to tell you what happened. It's only 30 seconds long.
All right. Should we?
There's no. It's just music in the background. I'm not going to play it.
All right.
So see, this guy's walking down a street. It's this guy right here. He's not paying attention. This guy taps him on the shoulder, keeps walking. This guy almost gets killed by that giant metal gate.
Oh, yeah. I've seen this before now that we watched it.
This is hooked on. So literally, this guy walks out of nowhere. That's walking a straight line down the road.
Yeah, here.
This big truck comes around the corner, hooks onto this giant metal gate.
Yes.
And as this guy's walking down the street, he taps on this other guy's shoulder out of nowhere. It's downtown. I think it's Russia.
And he
in
just
the middle
keeps
of the
on,
night.
keep
walking. Doesn't beat an eye. Doesn't do nothing.
Kind of like when you're walking and you're trying to trick somebody and you walk by him and you tap on the opposite side of the shoulder.
These are two adult men at probably 2:30 in the morning in Russia.
It's almost similar to that as far as his action of, hey, I'm tapping you on the shoulder, but I'm going to keep on walking like nothing's happened. That's how kind of nonchalant he was
really
about
nonchalant.
it.
Like, he does not even doesn't move his head, doesn't look, doesn't turn anything. And this guy looks in barely inches.
Yeah, if he
misses this giant gate clocking him.
If he didn't turn his shoulder and look after the guy tapped, this gate would have wiped this guy out.
He'd be dead.
Yeah,
because he'd been knocked into probably underneath the semi.
Oh yeah, for sure. Or pinned bad.
Because he'd been whipped right under there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of force.
Oh yeah, that gate came swinging around hard. But yeah, it's interesting stuff like that. Now, why did he tap him? You know,
It's 2:30 in the morning when I
Yeah.
looked it up, and I believe it's in Russia.
I mean, why did he tap him? Why did he not like stop with him?
So there's a longer video. This is the 30-second one.
Mhm.
There's a longer version of this video, and the guy can't find the other guy.
Right, just
He's looking like down the street, and he's trying to figure out where the guy went,
yeah.
and there's nobody there.
That's pretty awesome.
And this is what I think is maybe the best example of what we're talking about with true, maybe angels, maybe something else.
Maybe it's just maybe working through. It also may just be, you know, a higher powers working through human beings as like a vessel, like we're the medium.
I would say that there. Oh, I have some of those videos as well, but he disappeared.
Right, yeah.
That's the striking thing.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Is he was gone. Like when he turned around to look for him, he's not there.
Yeah.
Keep in mind that gate finished. That semi wrecked right after this.
Oh, really?
It's hooked onto a giant. That gate's attached to the barrier over here.
Yeah. Man, that's crazy.
So there's like you would see him.
Yeah.
He's not there.
I mean, regardless of if the man, you know, if he's human being or not, he 100% saved this guy's
this
life
guy'd
without
be dead. 100%
yeah,
dead.
without physically moving him or anything like that. He just made him aware of the situation, and the guy moved out of the way.
All right, here's my second one, and this is what maybe we were talking about with right place, right time, with maybe some motivation, angelic motivation, or otherworldly help.
Okay.
So this is a extremely busy street in Mexico,
Okay.
and it's crazy. There's this couple standing, and there's a little girl on the other side of the street. You see her right there,
Yeah.
and she should be dead.
Okay.
So very short, very short. See, this couple's just standing there. Motorcycles like going like 50 miles an hour.
Yeah, it looks like some. I can't tell what
Cars.
country this might be.
It's Mexico.
Oh gosh.
Literally, this guy on the other side of the street, this girl runs out in front of this truck, and he just instantly, it was like, and that could 100% could be human reflexes, instinct, but she literally touches the car as he's saving her.
Right. Yeah.
It's so close to her getting creamed. It's a little like 4-year-old.
little kid. Yeah. Maybe even less.
3,
Maybe,
4.
Yeah.
And this guy saves her. And the woman has the woman that was standing next to the guy is like, has not even recognized what's happened.
Yeah.
It's happened so fast.
It's so scary. I mean, yeah, for this one in particular, I would just
This
say
is my
it's-
example of humans being humans with maybe something else. I don't know.
Right. I mean, to me, that one's just like instinct. You know, just you already know. Like he knew once that little girl made even the first twitch to cross the road, he was knew and she wasn't going to stop. You know, you go out and save them, but it does take a special. I think it takes a person with good,
And then
just I don't know, good instincts, good head on their shoulders to go out and just not even think, but just to react and save this little kid's life.
And then here's my last one of the video section, and this is a woman explaining how an angel saved her son, but maybe more of a terrestrial sense as a human being.
Okay.
So let me unmute everything.
Let's see what she has to say.
They're angels. It's just angels that were there at the right time.
Barbara Covarubio teared up after seeing video of strangers pulling her son Matthew and another man out of his burning car.
It was scary to see what I saw. They were risking their own lives also, by taking them out.
I grabbed my fire extinguisher, ran up to the car that was on fire, and me and a couple people were trying to put the fire out.
The view from above
Look at
shows
that.
the
Oh,
extent
gosh.
of the
So you
fire
guys
damage
can't see this
caused
yet?
when a semi hit one vehicle,
nope,
which then
nobody
hit
should've survived.
2 others.
No, it's a
It wasn't
torch.
thought
There's
in
a
my
third
mind
car
to
in
go
there.
Oh gosh.
See what I
You can
do,
see one car in the
help.
semi.
Yeah, it's
And
There's a
torch.
third car in the
when
middle,
I
and that's where they pulled the guy
realized
out
there was
of.
still somebody
Torch
in the car,
mangled mess.
It wasn't a fact of, oh, well, am I going to be okay? It was, we got to get this guy out of the car. Everybody kind of came together to help out. To see a
Literally,
bunch
did
of
you
people band together like that and help.
The first part of the
some
video when
people
there's
in
like
need,
12
that
guys
was awesome.
yanking like
The
right his door.
risks he
Yeah,
and
look at
others
that,
took
yeah.
will never be forgotten.
You're seeing
by
live
the
footage of the
victims'
car
families.
just
So look
actively
at that.
burning on
There's
fire.
like 8 people ripping at his door to
Yeah.
get him out of there.
And I'm just so grateful that I still get to be with my son.
Very grateful.
So yes, that is an example of humans in a state of the mother of the young man that was trapped in the car,
yeah.
called angels.
Yeah.
And the Good Samaritan version of an angel is what I would call it.
Right.
Truly just people, it's gives me chills that when these examples happen. Because I was in Chicago with a car fire that we couldn't do nothing about, and nobody got out and helped anybody. All those people died.
Wow.
Like literally, everybody drove around them.
Yeah.
Nobody stopped, and it was like the two guys in it died.
That's so
But
scary.
we were on the other side of the fence. We couldn't get over there. Me and Zach were trying to climb over the fence because nobody was going over there to help them.
Yeah.
We thought, like, and after a while, we're like, okay, nobody's in that car, I guess. Now, 2 people died in that car.
Gosh.
And we couldn't get over there because the fence. Me and Zach were literally trying to climb over this big fence on the Chicago highway.
That's so scary.
And we're the only people trying to help.
Yeah.
And so this example of seeing all these men and women get and start ripping at this door. The car is actively on fire. The semi's actively on fire. And there's these people going there and ripping at this door to get this one guy out.
And they got him.
And they got him. They saved him.
Yeah.
And it just shows you that, you know, it doesn't take true angelic intervention
No.
to save stuff.
Right.
But this is another form of angel.
Like we can all be angels into somebody in the world.
100%. Now, I got 2 stories for you. Do you have any personal stories?
Oh, like
You don't
that?
have to. Of angels.
Divine intervention, you could say, or like.
So as we know, when I worked at the hospital before I did this full time, a nurse came up to me and I got told all kinds of stories, everything from shadow people to what you may consider lesser angel maybe stuff in the hospital.
Okay.
But I had one lady named Deb. Deb.
Okay.
She came up and I was talking. You know, eventually, I told an angel story, and she's like, I only had one thing ever weird happen in this whole hospital. She was talking about this old man. He was on hospice. He was doing really rough. She's like, I had just left his room. And it was super late at night. It's like 2:30 in the morning. I'm the only nurse on the floor. It's just me and this guy. Like his family been there all day, but I only had one patient, so there was only one nurse on the floor. She's like, I had just left his room and kind of walked. It's like a little L. So his room's at the very tip of the L. So she's at the corner part of the L.
Okay.
She's like, it felt like somebody ran past me. Nobody's there. She's like, nobody there. It felt like somebody like ran at me, like a big gust of wind and everything like that. So I turned around, and all I could see, in her best description, was the wing of a bird in his room, just from the corner of the door. And just this, and she said it was just like a big, like it had feathers, it was real, it was giant, but this bird wing. And then before she got to the room, he had passed.
The guy did.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she always said that was an angel. She felt an angel coming to collect him, coming to walk him home.
Interesting.
And she's a very serious woman. So that was always something that I thought was neat. And she's like, the only thing I've ever had happen weird.
Yeah.
And as a hospital, it's supposed to be very haunted.
Man, that's pretty weird. That's a different description of the Grim Reaper that you normally see or
now,
expect.
the Grim Reaper, that's a whole thing. That is an angel, the angel of death.
Right, yeah.
Now, depictions of the Grim Reaper's not supposed to be a scary entity.
Right, yeah.
He's not there to kill you.
No,
He's there to walk you home.
Which just sounds like what she saw.
Yeah. Now, the Grim Reaper, I think humans just have and its death is terrifying because it's, but so we personify death as the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
But as far as the historic facts of the Grim Reaper is the angel of death and is not there to harm you, is not there to scare you. Most time it's comforting. Like there's a lot of these stories you hear of hospitals with the Grim Reaper, and they're just sitting in the corner, or they're just, you're just waiting to walk you home.
Right, yeah. A guide, perhaps. Kind of like, you ever watched Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey?
Yes.
That Grim Reaper?
Yeah.
He's just kind of there, and they just keep making him
in a game.
Yeah, they beat him in Twister and all that. Such a funny scene.
So that's that story. Now I have one from my grandpa and my grandmother.
Okay.
So this was why I was alive. So this was early 2000s. They had never done a big vacation together ever. It was always with the kids and everything like that, and they never had a lot of money. So they wanted to go on a cruise. They wanted to do a Mexican cruise.
Okay.
And grandma was in a wheelchair, and she's in one of the heavy duty. She had no mobility outside of her wheelchair. She wasn't one of the people who could get up and walk. She basically had a spinal injury. She could not move her legs.
Mm-hmm.
So grandpa's on the phone with this cruise company the whole time, like hours. Like, no, I want you to every stop she can get off. Like every stop, because this is a lot of money.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that she can enjoy the full trip, or we're not going to so she can get off at Barbados. She can get off at this place. She can get off at this place. Like she's in wheelchair. She cannot get up,
Yeah.
stand up to get out of the boat and go back in a wheelchair.
Right.
She's in a wheelchair permanently. They're like, yeah. So they get on this cruise ship, and it's fine. The first stop, there's a lip that you have to walk up, and you had to walk across basically a 2x10 board, and then go back down.
Not wide enough for wheelchair.
And Grandpa's just screaming.
Yeah.
And he's furious because this is all their money. And he's like, he just retired, and, because he retired really late, and this is their first time ever doing anything just with them.
Right.
Ever in their whole life. So it's just horrible. And then Grandma said, this real tall, skinny black guy and this short, fat Mexican guy walked up. And they talked to Grandma. Grandpa's screaming. And they're like, ma'am, do you want to go on to shore? And she's like, yeah, but I can't get out of this wheelchair. And she's like, and they're like, we'll carry you there. We'll carry you across the gap. And she's like, oh, I appreciate it, but I can't, I'm too big. She, she was a bigger lady, and she's like, fall, and I can't really get out of this chair. I have a catheter and all this stuff. Like, I'm really attached to this chair.
Yeah.
And like, oh, that's no problem. We'll just carry you in the scooter across.
Yeah.
This is a full-fledged rascal scooter and a very big lady.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, honey, you can't do that. And they're like, yeah, we can. They picked, two of these guys picked her up, carried her across this piece of wood.
Yeah.
And set her down on the ground.
That's nuts.
And they said, honey, we'll meet you back here when it's time to get back on the ship. And you'll be fine. And they go and they explore and they have it. And they were waiting there. They walked her across. They never seen him again.
Oh, really?
They weren't a part of the cruise. Grandma said they got off and stayed off the ship.
Yeah.
And she had never had a problem getting off the rest of them. It was that first major stop.
Yeah.
And she said fully they were angels.
Yeah.
She's like, they looked weird. As in, they were very disproportional. They were hyper strong because the scooter was probably 300 pounds and she was probably 300 or 400 pounds herself.
The scooter might be more than that. Those things are heavy. So
they carried around 700 or 800 pounds over this little wood plank.
Yeah.
And Grandpa never believed it. Like, he's seen it. He's like, and that was his big thing coming to faith.
Yeah.
He's like, there's no way.
Yeah.
He's like, it takes 4 of us to pick up the scooter and put it in the car.
Yeah, exactly. And these guys picked up with her in it.
Yeah, a little short Mexican guy. And she said the Mexican guy was probably like 5 foot tall.
Yeah. So he's got that.
So it's like Joey.
He's got that squatty, like, power strength.
No. And this really tall, thin black man.
Yeah, he's got that lengthy, minute bull strength.
All I can think of ever is Joey. Like, literally, you can imagine Joey carrying...
Joey, and I'm trying to think who's a good, I don't know, equivalent for the
Solomon
other guy.
was our buddy that was a tall, thin black guy.
Okay, there you go. Them two.
But it's just like... it was to Grandpa the single strongest thing that's ever, like, faith-wise, that's ever happened.
Never seen, ever witnessed.
And they were waiting for him. He's like, they didn't go, they never, as far as we knew, they never left the dock.
Yeah.
They waited the whole day there. And then when we came back, they helped us get back on. And it's like they knew we didn't need help anywhere else.
Yeah.
Grandpa was so upset, like, because he's like, we still have 8 more stops.
Yeah.
And the rest of them, he didn't have a trouble the rest of the time.
The rest of them were fine.
They actually built boards
Oh,
to
really?
get her off the next one. Because
Yeah.
Grandpa threatened to blow up the ship.
Oh my gosh.
And he would have.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
is the same man that pulled our mayor out and was going to beat him to death in front of the police station here in town.
Yeah. So
Grandpa had he was high strung.
he would have probably done it.
He would have, because he knew how to do it. That was the problem, is he had knowledge
Yeah.
of how to make sure. But
Breaking news: cruise ship sinks in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
Dude, a handicapped wife.
Yeah, a bomb blew up on the inside.
Oh no, the boiler just built
went.
up too much pressure.
Yeah.
So that is Grandma and Grandpa's story that they've told me since I was little. And Grandma was just like, your grandpa walked all over that ship every day,
Looking for
all
them.
day, trying to thank him.
Yeah, never.
He's like, he had a wad of cash to give him. And he's like, he was going to give him all of our trip money because it made our whole trip. Because Grandma was just defeated that,
She
they'd
couldn't
spent
go.
all this money because it's like $2,000 when they didn't have money.
Especially being the first stop. That's just really.
It was the big stop.
Yeah.
So the rest of them were like half days. And this is the
Gotcha.
only full day on the whole cruise
Gotcha.
of being on land.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome.
But yeah, Grandma described, and I wish she was still alive because her description of these men is, she's like, they just didn't look right. Not not messed up or nothing like that. She's just like, there was something about them
Just different.
where like they didn't look quite right. They didn't look normal. Like
Yeah.
there was something. And they carried. She's like, they never faltered. They never like tipped her over one too far. She's like, the whole time I was up in the air, I never felt uncomfortable.
It's people like that build the pyramids.
Now, whole different thing.
It's like
We're gonna get another bad review.
Moving rocks like that and stuff and cutting them, just picking them up.
Gonna get another bad review.
Carrying them across the plank.
But that's that story. That's my personal story.
I don't think I got I can't think of nothing.
I don't
personal.
think a lot of these encounters are that grandiose like that.
No, I don't. And that's the thing. I think
there's a lot of small stuff happens. It's all behind the scenes.
I mean, maybe the part where I almost died, maybe
you should be dead.
I probably got a little lucky there, but
if there was an outside like a third body cam, you just see a guy standing on that bridge, just has his hand out to make sure you don't drown.
I wasn't in there that long.
Look, being in there that long is not the problem. It's being forced through a tube during a flood is the problem.
Yeah, tube is big enough though. I could comfortably crawl through it. I could. It was that big. It was big enough.
Until you got hit in the head by a piece of wood that was floating with you.
Anything, yeah. All I know is I shot out the other end with
force.
Yeah, because not only was it underground, it was like when you shot out the other end, you instantly shot up to the surface. So
you're lucky you didn't get stuck, like as in like the buoyancy trying to pin you.
If I would have got stuck under there, I'd be 100% dead immediately.
Or a big log or something comes in behind you and knocks you out.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I bet.
No, so those are my personal stories. So what are angels, or what are people seeing that are we're calling angels?
Right,
I have a little list myself, but I'm sure you have some to add as always.
Oh yeah.
And sorry, guys, this is the least scientific one we've ever done, I feel like.
Well,
but I thought it was a good palate cleanser.
Oh, yeah, for the demon core?
Yeah, for the demon core.
And, when it comes to angelic things, and...
we talk a lot about demons, so might as well talk about angels.
But things of this nature, in order for them to occur, to happen, it isn't based on, scientific things. It's more faith-based.
Yeah.
And I don't think these things can occur in a scientifically measured environment.
So my first thing is Good Samaritans.
Yeah.
And a lot of this could just be right person, right time, right place.
Mm-hmm.
Like that guy that tapped him on the shoulder fully could be a guy that just wanted to screw with this other guy.
Yeah.
And it all happened to unfold
what was
to save a life.
What was interesting, too, about that, because, he tapped him on the, like I said, you tap him on the shoulder and you're on the other side. Like, dumped. When that old man tapped the other guy on the shoulder, he tapped him on the side that he was already on. You know what I mean? And the guy actually turned the other way.
Watch the video, everybody. We'll put the link in there. You have to watch the video because it makes no sense.
Like, he taps the guy on the left shoulder, but
especially when it's like, I can't think of the Russian city it was in, but it's in Russia at like 2:30 in the morning with two adult men.
Yeah, like older men, yeah.
Like 40s.
Yeah, exactly. At least.
People that probably both have guns.
Yeah. And it's just weird.
They're prone to violence.
Taps on that left shoulder. He looks over his right shoulder for some reason, sees the truck, sees the gate, steps out of the way just in time.
Just in time. And then he turns around and the guy's gone.
Like inches away, yeah. It's crazy.
So what if that? So that's my first thing is Good Samaritans. These people that just, and then so with the pastor story early on, what if that was a felon?
Yeah.
Or a guy on the run. Literally a guy that's, he's like, I can't be here.
Could be.
When the authorities get here. And he's just a fully good guy. He actually pulled the guy out of maybe the windshield. Maybe, he couldn't get him to the door. And he risked his, life and limb to save this guy out or whatever. He couldn't, he physically, he's like, I can't be here when the cops get here because I'll go to jail too. But you're going to be fine. You're safe. Here you go.
You ever seen that Good Samaritan and this is probably not this case, but I'm sure you've seen the video where the guy was like hitchhiking. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, this guy started telling me about all the stuff he had done. Like, he was a really bad dude that picked him up. And the hitchhiker guy killed him. He, took an axe and, murdered the guy. And they're like, yeah, what happened? He started telling him, it was just nuts. You remember that? That's just, I'm sure you maybe have seen it before, but...
I'm not a big horror movie person.
It wasn't really a horror. I guess the guy that picked him...
A guy murdered another guy with an axe.
Yeah, and the guy that he murdered, I guess, confessed to doing some awful things awful things.
Just awful things.
And yeah, and the guy he picked up ended up murdering him for it, and it was just it's craziness.
So, what do you think about the Good Samaritans?
Oh, yeah, I forgot that's where this started. I took it to a dark place, but no, I think good Samaritans are everywhere around us. I think there's more good than evil in the world. But I also think people are put in situations to be a good Samaritan. It's the choice whether or not they're going to do it or not. You know, it's kind of up to that person's free will. And I think so. I think that's kind of where this stuff works, because you can't have direct. I think there's some special cases for direct intervention, but I think the way like faith
A lot
and
of
stuff
this works is just putting the pieces in order and letting them pick.
And I think
Very D&D campaign.
Yeah.
Is that everything's putting, you pick whatever you want, but all the pieces are there.
And it's just what roll of the dice you're choosing today. And I think rather than the dice rolling, you get the choice to land on what number or what action you want to take out of it. So, you know, you have an opportunity every single day to be a good Samaritan, or just to make a difference in somebody else's life. But I think human beings are the vessel in order for those. Unless you take action to do those things, none of it will actually happen. So it all kind of falls on you to do, you know, good or bad or indifferent.
So before I get into some of these really weird, I connected to a lot of conspiracy and a lot of paranormal here in a second. Before I get that, do you want to hear a really sad story from my grandpa?
Sure.
So he was a first responder for a long time after he got out of Vietnam.
Okay.
And I'll tell you the night he stopped being a first responder.
Okay.
There was a wreck over here on cemetery, right by the cemetery on 235 309.
Okay.
And a guy and a girl, young couple, put their car in the tree. Grandpa got there and the girl was like standing there and was like freaking out. The guy was like near death. So Grandpa, all the time, the whole girl was just, you know, she was like, save him, save him, save him. And Grandpa set her down by the tree and she's like, you know, and then he actually ended up saving the guy.
Yeah.
And then he heard the other first responder report one casualty. And he's like, no, he's alive. And the guy's like, no, we had one casualty. And Grandpa's like, what are you talking about? He's like, the girlfriend died.
Oh, no.
And Grandpa's like, no, I talked to her. Like, she was up running around. Like, she was here. And he's like, no, she's dead. And she, I guess, broke her neck.
Oh.
And she was dead walking. And like she just had to sit down right perfectly, and it probably was looking around, and she just finally like clicked it and died.
Holy crap.
Grandpa kind of always thought that she was already dead talking to him.
Yeah.
And that it was maybe her spirit or whatever was so concerned with her boyfriend.
Yeah.
And he's like, I would not have saved him if it wasn't for her.
Yeah.
Because he was already gone to me. He lost so much blood. He was like, had almost no pulse, like almost unreadable. And he stopped being a first responder that day.
Wow. That's pretty nuts.
You just reminded me of when you said put all the right pieces in the right place.
Right. Yeah.
But Grandpa said he would not have saved that guy because he
wasn't for that lady being
she
so
was
concerned.
dead.
Yeah. And she was already gone. That's craziness.
Here's my next one. Time travelers.
Ooh, okay.
So this whole theory with these angels or these interventions, or it's actually time travelers keeping the timeline intact.
In order. What is that even? And in the grand scheme of things.
So if you watch the Loki series on Netflix, it does, I think, a very really good job of kind of explaining maybe this kind of general thing, to where there's a general line of how we want time to flow, or whoever decides they want time to flow.
That's the thing, yeah.
And it's whoever wins, right? It's like any war, or any power struggle or whatever.
Yeah.
It's whoever wins gets to pick.
Right.
So they keep the pruning, is what they call it in the Loki series, of when these branches start splitting, where the timeline may be changing.
It's like
they go there and they clip it. Keep it going how they want it.
Like growing a tomato plant.
Yeah, yeah. So, like, for example, the Russian guy, he may have, maybe not himself, but his grandkids were supposed to do something great, or his great grandkids. So he couldn't die yet.
Right.
So they make sure that there's the chance of him dying at this one spot.
It's like, so
the time traveler agent makes sure, hey, and he's like, okay, and then he disappears.
That guy in the video, quote unquote time traveling agent, does strikingly look similar to the dude from Breaking Bad, the one henchman that kind of fixes everything for.
He does kind of look like him.
Well, I can't think of his name right now.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Mike's his name. He's got the gruff old man voice. Now, this is what you're going to do. And it looks like him going back. He's the guy tapping him on the shoulder. Like, it seems very in character for him.
And
like, very subtle.
Yeah. So what do you think about that? Time travelers keeping the timeline. That, you're still supposed to do great stuff. And then, like, that's maybe the pastor. You look at him and being like, hey, I can't get seen here.
Yeah.
because I'm actually 9 foot tall and I have gills.
Or like I was thinking,
But you're not supposed to die yet.
Back to the Future kind of time travel and stuff.
Yeah, it
where
could
it's
be any
like,
of
no, my parents didn't kiss, and now I'm gonna die. Like that subtle kind of thing.
The robot chicken thing with that is still the funniest.
I can't remember what happened.
Or he accuses his wife. He's like, "You didn't think I was going to notice that you named him after the guy that we met in high school that you ran off with, and he looks just like him."
Like him, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Well,
He's
George,
like, "I know you cheated on me," and he just
Yeah.
starts screaming.
George is kind of a now. Yeah, never mind. We won't even get into that. It's funny. It's really funny. Yeah, that show is great.
Yeah. So what do you think about the time travelers?
Like I said, like I can kind of fall into believing that for a little bit, but when you zoom out and look at the whole thing, I guess it's who is controlling the timeline and then who is sending these time travelers back. Because I feel like if anyone's sending them back to prune it or to keep it on the path it's supposed to be going, it just seems like someone that would be bad or negative that would do that would manipulate. I think things are supposed to play out as they're meant to play out. So
You should watch the Loki series because it gets to that point. To are you good or evil? And
right, yeah.
And then so Kang the Conqueror is the one that's ruling the timeline, but there's like the other versions of me that could pop up from the other timelines are much worse.
Yeah.
So it's all about keeping them out. So this is like he talks like this is the timeline I know results in everybody not dying.
Right.
So I keep it this way.
So it's like what timeline are we living in? The only true timeline that's supposed to happen.
There's a lot of weird stuff with time travel.
Yeah.
I don't care how you look at time travel. It's weird.
It is weird. So it's hard to like.
It's a bigger question. It's like a fifth dimensional being looking out, like looking.
Yeah. It is weird. It's weird to like when you really stop and think about it. I just don't know where I fall on that. I just don't know. I guess, like I said, I can kind of believe it, but on the grand scheme of things, I'll lean away again from this one.
My next one's weirder.
Okay.
These are either, how would I say this? Computer programmers correcting the simulation.
Yeah.
Or hackers that have gotten outside the computer program, like messing with the simulation itself.
Mm-hmm.
So is that meaning that we're living in the simulated reality?
Right.
We're in a giant computer for some reason, whether you think that we're still us or we're a part of the computer program. And these are either entities that have gotten out of the computer program that are messing with it with their own agendas,
right?
Wanting their stuff to fall their own way, or they're the actual computer programmers keeping the system running. Like it's kind of free will based, but they're like, we still need some of these key events to happen,
right? In order,
so
to
they're kind of like same kind of time travel ish, but not quite pushing stuff in the right way.
Yeah, they're
like
nudging.
We still need like Sims, very Sims-esque.
Yeah.
Where the Sims can kind of still do what they want, but you can kind of put them in these situations.
You nudge them to kind of go down that path you want them to.
And like a death is the easiest thing to prevent.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Where it's just like, look, a gate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or, pull them out of the car and they can't get seen because they're not real. As far as the simulation in itself is concerned.
Right, yeah.
The hacker or the programmer's not real.
Interesting. I mean, I can very much believe in this, whether or not we actually live in a simulation or not. It's kind of up for debate in some circles, I guess. But
you guess.
Some people fervently will argue for it.
In my opinion, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, right. And that's what I was going to kind of say. It's almost like we are living in some sort of program, whether it's a computer based or not. But either way, the way things grow.
Right, like the fundamental rules of math through the universe is a program.
Exactly.
Whether it's a fully organic program or a computerized program, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, are we living in a computer? Like,
100% doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. But the way I think things operate is like a program, and if that's the case, like I do think people can manipulate that said program, whether it just be through their own mental.
So that's almost getting, if it's organic, that's almost getting to a magic sense.
Yeah.
That these are quote unquote the wizards or the witches or whatever you want to call them. Of these, they understand the underlying math of the universe and can manipulate it.
Yes, the actual laws of the universe that
the vibrational frequencies, and they can manipulate the fabric.
All that weird stuff. Whether it's
So yeah. What do you think about this one?
That's how I kind of feel about it. If as far as simulation, being in a simulation,
and that could even be that these quote unquote acts of good may not even be for good. It's just self-benefiting. Your life, 20 or 30, 40, 200 years down the line, your lineage benefits me.
Having this
Yeah.
person still around or
And
making
if
it.
you die, like there's this chance, in the timeline or in the program,
Yeah.
there's a 50% chance of you dying. I can tip the scales to make sure it's a 100% chance of you living, and that benefits me down the line.
And is that just like, witches or people that, in that realm that can manipulate that? Or is that all of us that could actually do it if we put our minds together and focus on it? Is that possible? I don't know. As a collective, what's it called?
This is a long episode. I'm sorry.
There's a theory. It's like does the physical reality come first, or does the mental, or does your thoughts about that come first?
Yes.
Like is it kind of like the chicken or the egg thing?
So physical reality is highly manipulated by the psychic reality that our brain produces.
Right.
Colors aren't real, and that's hard for people to understand. It's
how-
all one wavelength. It's all one light.
It's just how our eyes perceive
it and
the
separate
light
it.
reflecting off that object.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very much more intense when
So
you
blue is like when we point at the same color,
right.
you call it blue, I call it blue. Does not mean that it looks identical to either of us.
Right, yeah.
We both have come to the collective reality that whenever I point at this thing, we're both going to agree that it's blue.
Blue, right.
But it means that to me, it could look to your red and vice versa.
Right, yeah. Everyone views
There's
the
no
world through their
guarantee.
own eyes, yeah.
Because you're like, what's blue to you? Well, it's just
This.
it's this color that looks like this, and this. Like, yeah, I agree because I'm seeing the same reality.
Right.
But to me, it could be a really different color.
Right, exactly. Exactly. So you got to put that into perspective when you're thinking about this stuff. Not just you and I in general, but everybody.
No, yeah, no, it's a good thought.
Every individual.
Sure.
You may not see what others see.
I got one more for you.
Okay.
And then, I don't know if you have any that you've thought up on your own.
We're touching most of them, but let's get
Actual
this-
angels.
Just actual,
like,
divine intervention.
Divine intervention.
And, there's stories throughout history of this too.
Mhm.
But whether or not we're still defining what actually an angel is, but, if it's an angelic being or, one of the, angels spoken about in the gospel, I would say, I don't know. Is it really them? Is it something interdimensional? Is it just advanced human beings? I mean, I don't know. But do I believe something exists?
So here's, out of this whole list,
Yes.
I think that Russian video is a real angel.
Okay.
As in a biblical divine intervention.
Okay.
As in that he appeared, it literally looks like he appeared out of nowhere, tapped this guy on the shoulder, saved his life,
Yeah.
and then disappeared.
Yeah. Like a real manifestation on earth of an actual angel.
Yeah.
In disguise.
Because there's stories that go back to the time we started writing stories
Yeah.
about, quote unquote, these good Samaritans.
Right. Yep.
These unrealistic people.
Mhm.
They have unrealistic human nature and unrealistic abilities. Not even like grandiose abilities. This right place, right time on another level.
Right. Yeah. Like much more than just too much to be a coincidence level. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like that. I just think it's very possible. I will never rule that out. That I just think angels are always among us, and you got to always be nice to everybody you meet, because what is that saying? Something about angels in disguise. You never know who you may be talking to, because it could just be an angel in disguise. Whether it's a homeless person or someone down.
What if God was one of us?
Exactly. Just a slob like one of us.
Now, every time you see that little old lady that's just looking at everybody on the train and just waiting for the opportunity for somebody to help her,
Yeah.
that's probably God.
Probably an angel just waiting. Just testing humanity, testing you.
Always be nice.
The individual, yes. So go out of your way. Help out a stranger in need. A friend in need is a friend indeed. Don't forget that.
I have been the great and powerful mystery.
And I've been Jay.
Do you remember what number?
No.
47.
47. Divine number.
I can only say because it's tattooed on your forehead.
Oh, yeah. Forgot we do that. It's like the Frighteners.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Cryptids of the Corn podcast.
Please share with a friend you think would like us. It's the best way to help our show grow.
Leave a comment, rate us, a 5-star review, and remember, there is always extra content on Patreon/CryptidsOfTheCorn.com.
And don't forget, stay magical.